Let
very
anybody not get
anti-Muslim
upset
guy.
because whether you are a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian, we all
He's
come from
going
the soil,
around
eat
preaching
from the
this to
soil.
Arab world.
When we die, we
He's
go back into
anti-Muslim
the
guy.
soil. Irrespective
Okay,
of
so you
our
know him.
religion,
Now
race,
I remember, as soon as he
nationality,
spoke, I
caste,
remember.
This is all documented.
This is
People
all
can-
documented.
people
I
go
have the
research.
complete transcription.
I quote, in Mein Kampf, replace the word Jew with Muslim. That's what I believe.
That Gandhi, he was reading the life of Prophet Muhammad. Wait, say that again. Hitler is very...
Popular in India.
But what if I told you that the same Hitler is in fact a bestseller in India?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah. So, Sheikh, how you doing? So you know this guy?
Yeah, he's going around preaching Muslim, but he need to preach in India. He need to preach in India to save lives of people.
Exactly. So not to undermine the soil and all the other stuff that's going on.
Well, I have marched for climate, brother. I have been marching in Chicago, in New York. As a Muslim, Prophet, peace be upon him, was very careful. He says, consume less and share more. In water, he would say, even if you have ocean worth of water and you're making wudu, don't waste water.
But you had your priorities, not mixed up. So this is one of the most popular spiritual gurus in India and now almost in the world. And he's preaching, Muslims and Christians, Jews come together. But has he speaking up against what's potentially going to be a genocide in India?
Not a single word. He has not spoken against the killers of Gandhi. He has not spoken against the killers of Muslim. He has not spoken against people who are claiming they're going to dig out Muslim women from grave and rape them.
Wow.
That guy is a governor of the largest, chief minister of the largest state of India. His name is Yogi. He's also a preacher. He's also a religious man. He's a very powerful man. And he says these type of things.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Sheikh Abdul Malik Mujahid, who is, by the way, one of the only Muslim award-winning authors published in India. It's correct?
On India, but
on
published
India.
in America, and some universities have used my book as a textbook.
So you know quite well, you're also very well researched on what's going on. You also helped out when the genocide, one of the greatest genocides after World War II was happening in Bosnia. You were,
Right in the heart of Europe.
Yeah.
When they were killing Muslims, we developed a Bosnia task force in Chicago, actually, and worked on it.
and also in Burma.
Burma, we have Burma Task Force. These are all part of Justice for All. And one of the common feature with Bosnia and Burma is targeting women. United Nations says that 50% of Rohingya women were either themselves victim of rape or they saw someone being sexually assaulted.
Mm-hmm. So this is something that was happening in Bosnia, Burma, and we're seeing it happening also now in India. This is a BBC report that talks about, and I'm sure many Americans, many Muslims, many just human beings don't know about this case. This happened in India. It's Bilkis Bano. And the BBC reports the government of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, approved the premature release of 11 men who were convicted. So they were already convicted for gang rape of a pregnant Muslim woman and murder of 14 members of her family, including her 3-year-old daughter, according to a court document. You know about this case, obviously.
Of course, at that time, government says about 1,000 Muslims were murdered, but Muslims believe tens of thousands of them were murdered. And they saw the danger what is happening. And Modi was the leader of that state where it took place. He was the prime minister, and current home minister was actually at that time the home minister of that state. So it happened under the nose of these people. And they were never convicted of any of these crimes. But this lady, because these things were happening, so they left their village. So their neighbors followed them, got hold of them, raped them, and murdered them. And at that time, they were able to file a case, and it was not easy to file a case. Finally, 11 people were convicted for life. But they were released recently, and you know on what account? They said, well, people who committed those crimes were Brahman. Brahmins are good people, they are priestly people. Brahman is the highest caste in India. They are not more than 3% of them, but in the government there'll be 50%, 60%. They control. A lot of those Brahmins are now coming to America in different agencies, different government and corporations. They are leaders. They were the high caste, priestly class in India, full in control. So release them because they are nice Brahmins. That's how a minister said, on which they were released.
But these are the same people who gang raped this pregnant woman.
Not only gang rape, they were convicted of gang rape. They were convicted of murdering people.
Her child died?
Yes, and she was 5 months pregnant and pregnancy was lost.
And then also, how many people were also murdered?
Yes, and that was not, this was just one of the case. There were tens of thousands of Muslim properties and mosques were destroyed. Most of those people were never convicted. This was one of the rare situations in which conviction did take place. But they were released because they were Brahman and high caste people.
Did you hear him, this so-called spiritual guru? Was he talking about this at all also?
No, he just goes around outside the country preaching the world as a nice guy.
As a nice guy, huh? So you don't hear, because I mean, I remember having you on the program before, and you mentioned something that Muslims have become, it's like a sixth pillar of Islam.
No, they're condemning terrorism as sixth pillar of Islam.
Yeah, you remember that?
We condemn every time something happens, whether it has anything to do with Muslim or not. We open our drawer and take out the statement to condemn it. And Muslims do condemn terrorism. The problem is, are other people condemning this? I mean, Palestinians get killed every other day. Are there American Jews who are condemning that? And we are looking forward to that. Its attack on synagogue took place. Somebody put a swastika. I personally showed up.
You personally showed up?
Yeah, I personally showed up in solidarity. If my neighbor is attacked, it's my duty. It's my Islamic duty. It's my religious duty to show up. I'm looking anytime the people in Palestine are killed. Our neighbors, there are good neighbors, Jewish Voices for Peace. They always march and create a big fuss, but they are not the mainstream Jewish leadership. Similarly, Hindus. When these type of things happen, we expect all Hindus to speak up the way all Muslims speak up condemning terrorism. I expect all Hindus to condemn these type of acts.
Is there a war right now? Is there in India between this group? Because obviously Muslims are not against all Hindus. Is this group Hindutva?
Hindutva is a name of ideology which was initiated by people who were influenced by Hitler and Mussolini. Hitler is very popular in India.
Wait, say that again. Hitler is very
popular in India.
But what if I told you that the same Hitler is in fact a bestseller in India? Yes, Hitler's autobiography Mein Kampf, which actually means My Struggle, sells on pavements, traffic signals and bookshops across India. So why is Hitler such a big hit with some Indians? By the way, Hitler's biggest Indian fan was Shiv Sena chief late Bal Thackeray. In 1967, Bala Sahib said, and I quote, "It is Hitler that is needed in India today." Even worse, before the 1992 and 1993 Mumbai riots, Thackeray told newspapers, and I quote, "In Mein Kampf, replace the word Jew with Muslim. That's what I believe." Hitler also stole our Hindu swastika while searching for Aryan symbols, twisting it for his own use.
You're kidding me.
Oh yeah. Actually, in a Jewish liberal paper in Israel, Haaretz, there was an article, Hindus of Hitler.
But how could, because Hindu was more for the white race, so he would have been against these people also now.
Well, it's all mixed up. You see, the ideologies are not necessarily perfect science. These are myths.
Yeah.
So they saw Hitler and they say that we're going to do to Muslims in India what Hitler did to Jews.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they said that. It is written in their things.
And now people like this who are out there, you see him in
He's
America.
not a major figure in India. I mean, there are major Hindu leaders in India. All the top Hindu leaders on December 2020 did a conference. And in that conference, they called, no, not December 2020, December 2021, they made an announcement that we will reward 10 million rupees to anyone who is willing to become a suicide bomber.
Who was saying that?
Hindu religious leader.
Yeah.
In a conference, which is video recorded, they announce award for a Hindu suicide bomber. They say we want to create a Hindu ISIS. They say that publicly. And they are religious leader. None of these people have condemned them either. They also announced we want to, have the suicide bombers so to kill 2 million Muslims in India. And they also say what is the purpose, so other Muslims either convert to Hinduism or leave India.
This is all documented.
This is all documented. I have the complete transcription. It is on YouTube available, although you need to understand their language. Indian media has published it, and that guy has created an army. He calls it a Hindu army.
And who is this person that created the army?
Yati. Naringsanand Yati. And this guy or other big Hindu leaders have not condemned him.
So Modi, that's the prime minister now. How does he fit into all this?
He remains silent. Silence means approval. Indian culture, when he does not condemn, he did not condemn, hey, you cannot create a Hindu ISIS. He didn't say that. He did not even say that, hey, you cannot have a suicide bomber recruitment with 10 million rupees award. He didn't say that. He remains silent. Muslims are lynched in the daytime. And if a police officer goes, there is an honorable Hindu police officer who tried to stop, they killed him. And the killers are free.
Okay, so you're talking about this man, Modi. He's the prime minister.
He's the prime minister. He's a former member. He's a member of RSS and a prime minister.
But translate what he's saying here.
हमारे अंदर एक ऐसी विकृति आई है, हमारी बोलचाल में, हमारे व्यवहार में, हमारे कुछ शब्दों में, हम नारी का अपमान करते हैं. क्या हम स्वभाव से, संस्कार से, रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में.
Now, what I understood here, tell me that this was actually a speech that was given right before or somewhere there when before this or after this release of these.
You see, he's a master of double talk. He's talking very nicely of women, in support of women and in their rights. We need to have respectful treatment and all that thing he's saying. But at the same time, in India, his party people came up with an app that on your app you can download. It has photos of Muslim women, Muslim speakers, Muslim leaders, Muslim professors, Muslim scholars, and all of those people, that they will be available as a prostitute of the day. And he did not condemn that.
This is an app now.
An app, there was one app, then now there is second app. Of course, Muslim made a big deal, so Google and these people deleted the app, but they created the app, and he did not condemn that either. So he's double talk.
I want to ask you more about this app, but before that,
we've been told that they're out to kill us all.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. We went to the streets to ask Americans about Islam. Here's what they said. Do you know anything about Islam?
No.
Do you know anything about Islam?
No, sadly.
Do you know anything about Islam?
Not really.
Do you know anything about Islam?
No. Sorry.
Do you know what Islam means?
Islam? No. We've been told that they're out to kill us all.
That's what you've been told, that Muslims are out to kill you all.
Well, that's what they say on TV.
Anything.
I know it's in the Middle East, isn't it?
Well, that you can have 4 wives.
Brothers and sisters, as you can see, there are so many Americans who don't know about Islam. We need your help to change that. Help us to build the Deen Center, the first mega Dawah center in America. Click to donate right now. May God Almighty Allah reward all of you. This horrific thing that just grave injustice that happened to Bilkis Bano, this case, this speech, he's talking about women's rights, but then is he standing up to what just obviously just happened, this evil that just took place where these higher castes would be like, these are the elite of society.
Brahmins, yeah.
The Brahmins.
Highest
So they
caste.
were released. He just gives a speech on women, treating women right and taking care of them and eradicating such bad behavior
Actually,
against
it's
women.
a campaign, save your daughters, but
But
it
then
applies to Hindus.
But Bilkis Bano's just suffered a gang rape by these.
She was 21 years ago,
Yeah,
20 years ago when he suffered that.
Is he speaking up or any? But
No, not a single statement.
No.
Actually, the whole attack, massacre of Muslim, which took place 20 years ago, was the reason that United States government banned Modi from entering the United States.
Wait, at one point he was banned from entering the
Oh yeah,
US?
for 10 years. He could not enter the US for 10 years. And he could not enter Canada and UK until he became the Prime Minister.
Wow, how times...
That was because of that massacre in which Bilkis Bano was raped and his family
was
was
because of
murdered.
that.
It was in that. And he was the chief minister of that state where it took place. And that's the reason he was banned from coming here.
That's hypocrisy. Now, at one point, he's banned.
Brother,
and now-
hypocrisy is a lot of people have hypocrisy. This is the mother and father of hypocrisy.
This is the mother and father. This is the epitome.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm hearing all this stuff. I'm just trying to digest all this, and it's really sad and horrifying.
And right now, in smaller villages in India, gangs of this RSS people with Hindutva ideology to wipe out Muslim, wherever Muslims are in small numbers in villages and all that, just 400-500 just mob goes in there in Muslim home, destroyed their properties, sometimes demolish their homes, that police does that, and then police arrest Muslims who are the victim. And some sisters are, they record the messages by covering their face, what happened to them. So in smaller villages, they're giving them an option. Hey, either become Muslim or leave the town. And sometimes they attack them, and it has been recorded.
I recently had a Hindu on the program, and he was speaking up against, he said, this is not Hinduism, this Hindutva. And he was speaking up. Are we seeing a growing number of Hindus who are coming out again? Just like you had Muslims who were speaking against ISIS. So it seems like Hindu ISIS is running India. Are Hindus coming out to speak up? Just like I had this Hindu on the program.
There is no comparison whatsoever. All
There's no
Muslim
what?
government, there is no comparison.
No.
All Muslim government, almost all Islamic scholars I know of, almost all the mosques in America, they condemn terrorism. I am not aware of a single temple in America who has condemned Hindutva. There are some liberal, progressive Hindus. They have Hindus for human rights, very few people. They are good people, they are condemning it. But their leaders, for example, in Chicago, there is a congressperson, his name is Krishnamurthy, Raja Krishnamurthy. He is buddy of Modi. He is his supporter. He stands with them. He speaks at RSS. He does not condemn RSS. He does not condemn Hindutva. So the thing is that they need to do this thing. So at this moment, Hindutva is accepted by and large by most temples in India and in America. That's the danger. And that's why Muslims, Christians, and Jews need to enter into dialogue with Hindu temples in America and all the big shots Hindu leaders in India that, hey, we condemn terrorists. When are you going to do that?
We condemn terrorism. When are you going to do that?
Yep.
That's the
question.
important. That's the question. Let's go back to this app. Unpackage that for me. Help us understand this. You got an app that's prostituting Muslim women. How? Against
they're
their
not prosecuting. What they're doing is so it's called an app, Bully Buy.
Uh-huh.
And every day there'll be a photo of a Muslim woman, actual woman, who is a leader in some sort, a speaker, a professor, Muslim journalist, Muslim pilot woman, and all that, and their phone number and email that they are available for prostitution for today. So it's a method of harassing Muslim women.
I see. Okay, so they'll put their public information out there, their picture, and say that she's selling herself, she's prostituting
Yep.
herself.
Yep.
And now you got some scumbag who go out
Yeah,
there
who
and-
gonna call and harass and things
Yeah.
like that.
So this was going on, huh?
Yeah,
These
I
apps
mean,
are these
there
apps-
was
I know
one
they're
app
banned
which Google knocked it off, then they came up with another one, Google knocked it off. The problem is not one app and this and that. Problem is the silence of the government of India.
Where are the
Modi remains silent.
Where are the women's movements, the feminist movements that are out there? You know, in
There,
India,
there
are
were
they-
some cries. There were some people who did speak up, but not a religious leader, not Hindu religious leader, not Hindu government.
Not this guy we just had on.
No,
this-
not at all. This guy is just going around through the world telling the nice thing which they want to hear.
Uh-huh. This is really just, but it's still up in India?
No, that app, app comes through App Store of
Apple Store,
Android
yeah.
and all that. They knock it off.
Okay. Wow.
Images are available on Google,
Mm-hmm.
but that knocked it off.
Yeah. So let's go back to Gandhi. So when Gandhi was alive, his message and what he was preaching and teaching, this was in opposition to RSS, this ideology, wasn't it?
Well, RSS was in alignment with British. They did not work for the freedom of India or Pakistan. They were organizing their paramilitary forces. So they conspired to kill Gandhi because they thought Gandhi is soft on Muslim, who he may or may not be soft on Muslim, but that was the accusation. So the guy actually who killed Gandhi, his name is Godse. And that guy, his book is on Amazon. You can buy it. Why I Killed Gandhi.
What does he say? Why did he kill him?
Well, you need to read. I didn't read the book.
Yeah.
But he is well-known person. He's worshipped in India.
He's worshipped.
Oh, yeah. In some temples, he's worshipped. There are photos are available on Google. And he's highly respected. People want to name things after him. And people saying that are not Joe on the street, the people who are in power.
But wasn't Gandhi considered like the father of India?
Yeah, he's founding father of India, definitely.
Yeah. So how and this ideology RSS, so you can pretty much say, is it right to say Hindutva? How long have they been around?
Hindutva ideology is also 100-year-old, but now they're in control. Now they're in power. And I will give you, I was speaking in a temple in India. And so when I left the stage after delivering a keynote speech, a elderly person approached me and he showed me a magazine. Mm-hmm. When I saw that, that's the magazine which Gandhi started. And he said, yeah, that's the magazine Gandhi started. He said, so you should be the one to giving a speech. So who you are? So he's the chair of the institution which Gandhi started. Mm-hmm. When I say, you should be the one speaking, not me. He says, Sahab, who cares for Gandhi in India? So it is on their currency. They put statues of Gandhi in America. But in India itself, Gandhi has been defeated by Hindutva. Hindutva ideology is all over.
Is there proof that because this person was linked with RSS that Hindutva was responsible for
There are books about it. There are scholars who say that. Indian government banned RSS, but RSS is a secretive body. They openly march, openly do things. Every day, there are 50,000 gatherings in India they do. Mm-hmm. This is their statement. At the same time, every week, they have 10,000 meetings of their social media team. 10,000 social media team they have, according to them. This is their statement, not I read it on their website. So they continue to work, but they are open as well as secret. So when somebody gets killed, nobody knows. For example, the guy who's in charge of the police and the lot of security forces is Amit Shah. He is a Home Minister of India. He was arrested in Gujarat for killing a Muslim and two of his colleagues. And he when he became the Home Minister at federal level, they tried to get him out. He himself wanted himself out. Judge says, hey, there are about 10,000 pages of evidence against you, more than 100 witnesses. So I'm going to read all of that. We'll make a fair judgment. So they took him to Nagpur, which is a city which is the headquarters of RSS. And within 24 hours, that guy was found dead. They murdered him. There is a book out there, Who Killed Judge Loya? And Indian government did not even investigate why a judge who was looking at the triple murder case in which prime suspect was Amit Shah was murdered. And they appointed another judge to replace him. And in 3 days of hearing, in which he gave 3 days to the attorney of Amit Shah, and 2-3 hours to the evidence, which was 10,000 pages and 100 witnesses, and said, oh, there is no case against him, and released.
So going back to what you mentioned about Gandhi and Muslims, we know that there's documentation that Gandhi, he was reading the life of Prophet Muhammad, and then paraphrasing one of his quotes, that he was sad that there wasn't more to read, that he was starting to have an affinity towards Islam, towards Prophet Muhammad. Is there a connection?
I don't think so. He has some good statement.
Some good statements, right?
Good statement about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to appease Muslim. Good statement about Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu to appease him. Yeah. He will say that when Muslims were campaigning, when Khilafah was being shut down in by Ottomans, there was a Khilafah movement. So at one time, all the Muslim leaders were in prison, and he became the president of that. Yeah. So to appease Muslim, he will say these type of things. But he was Hindu, practicing Hindu. He will discourage people. But part of Hinduism is that this nice talk, all paths lead to the salvation. So Hindus are okay, Muslims are okay, Christians are okay. In terms of saying that, all Hindus will say these type of things. It's a part of Hinduism, Hindu style of talking. So, but he dealt with Muslim politician, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who established Pakistan, he used to be president of Congress too, just like Gandhi. And he realizes that Gandhi is not listening to Muslim demand. Muslim wanted equal right to Hindus, and he was not willing to give that. And that's why they demanded for Pakistan to be created. Otherwise, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was from Gujarat, India, where Gandhi was.
So this SADHGURA, who when we opened up with, he was talking about Muslims, Christians, and Jews should come together to save the soil. Is there something that people can do more honorable to come together, Jews, Muslims, Hindus?
Well, people who are walking on the soil, he need to speak up for the human being. Because if human beings are slaughtered, and Hindu armies and Hindu Senas and Hindu Bahinis are going around killing Christians and Muslim and Dalit in India, he need to speak up for the living being as much as he is speaking for the soil.
Yeah, more so, right?
So ignoring human beings and going around the world talking nice about the climate change, climate change is hard. Anybody can become popular talking about it. But what about the human beings in India? Why don't you speak up? Why don't you criticize those people who are looking for Hindu suicide bomber to kill 2 million Muslims? That's where you are needed.
Yeah. Tell me, you have also your network there. You guys are talking about this. You have a TV station, radio station?
We have a Muslim Network TV. It is available 24/7 on Galaxy 19 satellite or Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV. You can download the app on your iPhone. Just type Muslim Network TV. It is also available on our website, muslimnetwork.tv. It has religious programming. We put your TheDeenShow on it also with your permission. And we have daily news, which comes out 9 p.m. Eastern Time every day on the weekdays. And that's very popular program.
So you've covered this extensively then, what we just
Oh,
talked
yeah,
about. So
we
this is
covered
one of the
these
things that
things.
people can see there that
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
covering.
We have several programs, several news items, and several video packages on what's happening in India, as well as what's happening to Muslims in China and Burma and other places.
You cover all this there.
Oh, we do.
Alhamdulillah. Did you hear this recently? There was a report that they were having people come over from different countries. It was called like safari hunting in Bosnia. Did you read about this?
No.
You didn't know about this?
This story is something else altogether, and it's one that has been kept completely hidden from view for the past 30 years. That is, until now. That is until a former US government official came forward recently to testify that wealthy Western tourists paid Bosnian Serb army forces for access to shoot Muslims in Sarajevo when the city was under siege during the early 1990s.
You haven't heard about this?
No.
No.
Wait, let me say that again. Rich Western tourists paid money to hunt and kill Muslims for sport in Bosnia, making this the kind of human safari that you see only in a dystopian Hollywood movie.
Okay. So before we conclude,
That was at the time when Bosnia genocide was taking
yes.
place.
It's something also just hard to believe. I thought maybe if you knew about this and
No.
yeah. So Burma, what's the situation in Burma now?
Well, the thing is that there are 450,000 Muslim Rohingyas left in Burma. They're in terrible shape. And then there are 1.3 million in Bangladesh. And in terrible situation. World feeds them and all that. But they don't, they are not allowed to have any education. So it's the third generation of Rohingya people who are being raised illiterate. There are no people in the whole world who are not allowed to go to school. These are Rohingya people inside Burma and in Bangladesh.
Mm-hmm. And then China, what's going on with the Muslims there now, the situation?
Recent report was very horrible. Since August, there is a lockdown in eastern Turkestan where Uyghur people are, and they're not allowed to go buy food and all that. So several people have died because of starvation in their home. So about 90 bodies just from one town, Golja, was discovered, who died because of starvation, because they are not allowed to go out and nobody is providing them food.
Subhanallah. So, I mean, it's just something that's very sad to hear. You got all these things that are going on.
You know, Brother Eddie, may God bless you for the work which you do.
I mean, you too.
Communication and information. You know, when we know, our duty is to do something about it. But we don't control the world. God Almighty does. Our salvation is that when we know a zulm, an oppression, whether it's on our street right here in Chicago or anywhere else in the world, we speak against it, we try to stop it, and we pray God Almighty that He guide the people who are oppressors and give sabr to those who are being oppressed. That's the limit of our responsibility. I don't have any tank to drive from here to China and liberate our people. But I will speak up. I will keep speaking up. And that's being part of the Muslim Brotherhood, which is part of the brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity. There is a whole humanity. We are all from the same father and mother. But within that, responsibility of Muslim is to speak up for justice and establish justice.
Absolutely, yes. And if more people did that, if more people were more concerned about, the soil, the human beings, rather than just the soil, climate change, like you said, priorities, right? Instead of seeing your brothers and sisters in humanity, a genocide. I keep hearing from people in India, this is a genocide just about to explode, about to happen.
Well, there are Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. says that the highest risk of mass killing. And there is a genocide expert who predicted Rwanda genocide. Mm-hmm. He says India is at the last stages of genocide.
So there's steps that lead up to genocide, and India is right there at that border.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And we get freaked out when we hear the term ISIS, obviously, Daesh, KKK, But you got this type of ideology running this country right now, and people are just blind to it. I think most people are not educated on really what's going on.
Well,
in that
that's
part of the
where
world.
your program comes as a very timely manner.
And the Hindu that I had on, this brave Hindu that I had on the program, he was talking about how that's spilling over here to America.
Oh yes, I mean it is spilling over here. People are here. I told you, there is not a single Hindu temple who has condemned Modi, who has condemned the release of the rapist and murderers of Bilkis family and her rape. There are no Hindu temples in America on the who have condemned RSS and Hindutva. There are some bunch of people who are not part of the temples. They are doing few things, and thank God there are good people like that. But temples need to do. There are organizations which support Modi, like Hindu America Foundation. They haven't condemned any of these things either. They're not standing up with Muslims. They're not standing up with Christians. Christians are being beaten up and murdered in India as well.
Also Christians, right?
Oh yeah,
Because
and lower caste people.
because Christians eat hamburgers also, right?
Yeah.
So if we're eating a halal burger, I'm hearing that people are being lynched in India for this. This kind of sounds
Just on the accusation that they are eating beef, and it is not true. I mean, beef is not available because who's going to slaughter beef? You will be murdered because of that. But just they accuse, hey, he was eating beef and kill them.
just on that
Oh
accusation.
yeah. There are, a journalist has developed a list of 680 people who have been lynched, literally, just like the good old South in America, because they were accused of eating beef.
Now someone says, come on, you guys, this is some kind of conspiracy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that unfortunately when people do not have knowledge, they can claim that. But I invite them to go genocidewatch.org, which is run by Professor Greg Stanton, or go U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, USCIRF. On their recommendation, America banned Modi. So read that recommendation. Every year report comes out from USCIRF, which is the government body. It is a government body, United States government body. They have called for sanctions on those people who are committing these violence. They have called that India should be declared a country of particular concern because of these ideologies and violence. So these are United States government saying things.
So before we conclude, what message would you get out there for SADHGURA, for the Hindus? Because obviously we're not against Hindus. This is the Hindu Vitva. This is like someone saying I'm against KKK or ISIS, Daesh, these extreme elements out there. So now for the Hindu who's watching, for the Christian, whoever, just a human being who's hearing this for the first time, and he's appalled, he's shocked. She's shocked, hearing about this case of this woman that was gang raped and her child in her womb was killed and her murderers got let loose free, the murderers of her family. And they're roaming the streets right now because they're in a higher caste. I mean, this is like just out of this world. There's got to be a day of judgment. There's got to be that because you can see there's no ultimate justice in this life. So what advice, what message do you have for the good people out there who are wanting to do something? They could be Hindu, Christian, Muslim, whoever.
Well, first of thing I would say is just go ahead and Google. Google, I would say, Hitler's Hindu. Google that and read something about it. Google killers of Hindu. Read about it. Google RSS. Well, RSS will give you some computer terminology. Put Hindu RSS and read about it. Read about why Modi was banned from entering America for 10 years. Learn about it. Education is not going to hurt. It will make you a better human being. And once you have learned, as a Christian, contact your church and tell them that, hey, do you know about this? If you're a Muslim, ask your masjid, what are you doing about it? If you're a Hindu, get to your temple. Why you are not telling us in temple that Hindutva is bad? Hinduism is a faith of my neighbor. Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Jews, all are children of Adam and Eve. We are one human brotherhood and sisterhood. We need to stand up for each other.
Sheikh, thank you very much. And people can go ahead to the news network that you run.
Yeah,
if
you
they
can
give-
go muslimnetwork.tv for that. And if you want to take an action on Hindutva or anything like that, go for justiceforall.org.
Thank you for sharing that with us and bringing us up to speed on the current events that are happening there, this oppression, and hopefully, inshallah, God willing, people get more educated and speak up.
Well, thank you for the work which you're doing.
Thank you. I'll see you next time, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. And thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe if you hadn't already. And we'll see you next time here on The Deen Show. Until then, peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum. Cannot leave without giving you a gift. If you're not yet Muslim and you're tuning in to see what these Muslims are talking about and you like a free copy of the Quran, go ahead and visit TheDeenShow.com. We'll take care of the postage and everything and get it delivered to you. And if you still have some questions about Islam, call us at 1-800-662-4752. We'll see you next time. Until then, peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum. And if you like this episode of The Deen Show, like this video, share this video far and wide, and support us on our Patreon page so we can continue this work. Thank you for tuning in. Peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum.